Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Well, it's afternoon for me anyway. I'm not sure when you'll be reviewing this, but it's afternoon for me. Dr. Knoll again here. We're going to go into kind of week two. So I'm going to start out with week two is we're going to take a look at this is the motivation week, okay, about motivating yourself, employees, and all those types of things. So 5 and 6 concentrate on this aspect of motivation. So as we take a look at this, and what we're going to take a look at here is this aspect of the assignment here is the first one we have is an assignment with Disney. So we're going to be taking a look at looking at the case on motivation in Disney, okay? And that should be on about 189 to 90 in the textbook, even in the digital textbook. And it's going to take a look at, and I want you to take a look at what Disney employs as their motivational theory. I think you'll find it very interesting because motivation at Disney is a little bit different than it is in other places. And it is definitely about their organizational culture. They live it. And from when the time you walk in to the time you leave, everything there resonates around their theory and their culture of and how they apply it, and how the culture is applied throughout the aspect of Disney. Disney's not necessarily known to be the greatest payer in the group, although they are better now than they used to be. So I want you to take a look at motivational theories in chapters 5 and 6 and apply to those apply them to Disney and what kind of theories they're employing when they actually take a look at that. You should also have a couple of good references there, not web links, not and not anything from Wikipedia. Both of those will actually cause you to be able to lose a letter grade because this is graduate work, and if you give me web links, you'll be starting at a B, unfortunately, because again, you want to make sure that you're actually making sure that you have those peer reviews. Now, there are, as I go back to modules here, there is the OWL here, a link to the OWL, which is Purdue's website, and that's their APA sourcing right there. You can also get a hold of the Writing Center. They would love to see you with some help. If they can give you some help with the APA sourcing. Also inside Word, there's a database feature, which I can tell you I used extensively in my research and still do. Inside Word, that will actually format into the correct APA style format for you. So there are plenty of ways to get to that format, and definitely websites that you're posting definitely do not want to be web links. The next part of this is these virtual environments, which are so you're going to want to make sure you got you're researching, looking at what those issues are in the virtual environment, looking at things like appraisals, performance, motivation in the environment, in the virtual environment. What kind of problems are there? How do you as a manager handle that? How would you handle that? So, give us a good one-page, a little bit of one-page post in the virtual environment, so we can take a look and see how that's being handled. Now we'll get to the case, because as you can see here in case number 2, we're looking at case number 1, so you guys can start to work on that. Okay, so when you make a case selection, and based on these already, we actually have one that's going to get closed out. Houdini is almost getting close to being closed here, and this is right here. These are the cases that I've gotten down so far based on that. So what I'm doing is tracking where they actually go, okay, and who gets what. So after 4 or so, I'm probably going to tell you that we're going to make another selection because they're and because you want to make sure that we're getting good variety, okay. And that's where we want to make sure that we're definitely helping, getting good writing. So I will allow, because of the size of the class, we'll get basically 4 or 5 of each. So make sure that we do that. So but after 5, that's it. I close out, and I'll send you a little note back in the discussion that says you need to make another selection. So when we look at this, now what we're going to do is take a look, and I'm going to review with you the actual aspect of a case study. And as soon as I can here, there we go. You go ahead and over to the screen share here. And there we go. Okay, so then we'll go from the beginning here and bring that on. Okay, so we're put together a few years ago. So, but the way we look at cases is not any different. This is also posted under the professor's office for you guys to take a look at and refer back to. I strongly encourage you to. Okay, so when we take a look at case studies, is may have had a few of these in undergrad. You may have done some courses already, so some of this might be review. For those that are just starting out, this may not be review for you. Okay, so these are some things that can go through the background aspect of this. Okay, so the cases typically are going to have multiple meanings. Okay, so there's going to be an opportunity there for you to have a lot of different ways to look at the case. This is what I equate this to. As a case person, when you're looking at a case study, you want to look at what you're doing, okay, as a consultant. So you look at this as if you were a consultant for this company, okay, and then you're going to be making this presentation to senior management and the board of directors, okay. So you want to look at these cases, look through the situation, look at all the multiple meanings that they could, and there could be stuff that really cause it's basically going to cause you to really think about it. You might have some strong opinions. There is no right answer to this. Okay, just getting right now, management, there is a right answer. There are better answers than others, but there's not a right answer. It's not a multiple choice question. When you're in management today, you're not going to have that luxury of being able to get the A, B, C, D choice. You're list the A, B, C choices yourself and pick one, and it may work. It may work great, but you're not going to know. There's not necessarily a right answer. Okay. The next one down is I'm not really interested in what your position to be. I also teach ethics, so this kind of falls right in that same line. I'm only interested in what you're saying and how you're proving your case. You may look at the case completely differently than I do. If I was a consultant, that's what happens when you're consultants. You know, you're hiring your expertise, but you're hiring your viewpoint as well. So you're not sure who's going to be right or wrong. But I'm going to be able to prove my position, and you should be able to prove yours too. So you need to really think about how you're going to actually make your case, okay? And no pun intended, okay? There's also, just like a consultant, you're going to have to actually go through and eliminate the noise, okay? And consultants are going to have people lobbying you, okay, one way or another on an opinion on the way something should be done. And a lot of that's just kind of noise, okay? And it's definitely going to be biased because everybody has the right ability to think about what they believe their own self, and it's going to be biased by where they're at in the company and how this potential you coming in might impact them. So just like in these cases, there's going to be these things that don't make any difference, and they're just really based on biased testimony. Most cases will include information that is inferred, or you need to look up something. Okay, so you might have to read into it a little bit because you're not going to get a complete picture. Managers rarely get a complete picture, and a consultant, you're definitely not going to get a complete picture. So you're going to have to kind of make some things that make sense of it. Look at the nonlinear structure. Okay, so it's not going to prevent. It's not like reading a novel where they unthread this novel all the way through it. Okay, you're going to get bits and pieces of a point here. Then another page, you're going to get, oh, that relates to that as well. Okay, so you're going to want to make sure that you kind of go through and look at those aspects. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at this aspect of how this is the outline for any case analysis. Okay, you're going to read it, you're going to identify the problems, you're going to analyze it. And then you're going to develop your course of actions. Okay, it should be plural there. And you should make recommendations based on those course of actions. Okay, so in your analysis, you're going to analyze your problems, and then you're going to sort out which ones are going to be important, which ones are not. Okay, and as you go through there, you're going to develop that course of action, make some recommendations, and justify that. Okay, so identifying there, you're going to want to know, identifying the problems and issues, okay? Sometimes the case just describes the situation and you have to determine the problem. The individuals may have an awareness of the problem, but sometimes they're not, just like a consultant. Okay. You walk in there, sometimes everybody's aware of what the issues are, and sometimes nobody knows anything. Okay. You're going to have to dissect. This is the key one here. We need to asterisk this one right here. This one here, this aspect of a root cause. So you're going to dissect the situation to find what the root of the problem is. Okay. And I'll give you an actual aspect of this. Okay. So what we're looking at here is you're looking through the situation and sorting through what the real problem is. If you've got high turnover, okay, you've got that's a symptom. That's not a cause. Okay, that's a symptom. Okay, just like treating a disease. Okay, you're going to want to get down to what the root cause of those issues are. So you could have turnover. You can have poor morale. You could have decreased productivity. But none of those are all symptoms. Those are problems, yes. But those are really symptoms. You're digging behind there to find, okay, you've got ineffective management. That's your root cause, not the other symptoms aspect of it. It's the root cause. So you got to dive down in there, and you're going to see that in my feedback. And then you're going to be actually writing out what your problem statement or statements are. Okay, that might help you kind of organize it a little bit. So think about those types of things. And again, just like I said, the problem typically is not going to be, isn't necessarily going to be presenting itself right on top. You're going to have to think about it now. Okay. You can actually start by answering the questions, but in the cases that we've got here, we're really going to be looking at different things. But you can take a look at the questions at the end to help you out with it. But you might want to take a look also, this might help you leading to questions, themes, problems, all those types of things. On the team case, you can actually go ahead and discuss this with your team, and you actually will, because you'll be looking at you'll come up with some issues and problems. They'll come up with some issues and problems, and hopefully they're the same, so you can tackle them. And if not, then you're going to have some discussion over that. I can tell you that I usually reread a case 2 to 3 times and taking actual notes and using different color highlighters to highlight that information that I'm looking to pull out of there, much like any other. Performing the analysis. Okay, so you're going to take a look at performing the analysis. So we're going to take a look at this, and this definitely looks different for each case. Okay, it might involve strengths and weaknesses. It's almost always going to include external research. Okay, what were the situations? What are similar situations? How would they handle it? What were some solutions that were presented in similar cases? You might have some financial analysis or ratios that might need to be done. Have other quantitative evidence that's important. These are all things that can come into play here. And you might have to look at things like combining things that are in different parts of the case as you're reading through it. So there might be something on page 1, and there might be something on page 6. Then there might be something back on page 3.5. Okay, or page 4 there, where you can pull all these things that are together, and they actually aren't as unrelated as they appear to be to begin with. Okay, developing your courses of action. Okay, so what are the possibilities are there? Okay, and you need to make sure that everything is viable. Can it be done? Answer the question: can this be done with this company? If not, it's not viable. You discard it. Okay, and you really should look at short, medium, and long range strategies. So in other words, what are you going to do in the short term to work on that problem? What are you going to do in the medium range? Looking at that, short is usually considered 1 year or less. Medium is in the 1 to 4 years, usually 1 to 3 years. And then anything is longer term is anything longer than 5 is the standard. Typically, though, it can be anything longer than 3. Action plans should definitely include all resources. So in other words, what are you going to need to get this done? Okay, list all of whether that's going to be done. And you can't just say put together a training manual. Okay, that should be putting together a training manual needs to include this, X, Y, and Z. We need to develop a new product. We need to bring some new employees on. All of these could actually be problems, courses of action. And these are all items that could be leading into. Then you need to come through with that recommendation. Okay. Which of those courses of action are you going to recommend and why? And you want to look at both the cost and the risk analysis. Okay. So how much is this going to cost? How much potential benefits are there? How much risk is there going to be? All those types of things are what we want to go ahead and do and put together and put forth. Also look at the weaknesses. Okay. If there are weaknesses to it, you need to do that. But you need to list that out because it's not going to look good for you if I point it out. Okay. Because one of those weaknesses, okay, you say you need to put together a training manual and a training program, but your training program for people located all over the world might have a weakness of being able to do it only through Zoom. Okay. That's going to be a weakness. You should identify that as being a weakness. Okay. In the end, the last little bit of this should be a summary. Okay. I don't need a lengthy summary, but I do need you to bring it all together. Okay. So what we're looking at in the summary, and what I'm looking at in the summary is, not more than a page at the most. And what you're doing is bringing all your arguments together. Bring it all together in a nice little package and bow. You marketing folks out there should be able to know how to do this. You're closing the sale. That's what you're doing, is you're closing the sale. Thinking about that you're presenting this to a board of directors and senior management as what they should do with their company. Okay. Make sure that you bring it all together. It should be like an executive summary in a research paper. Okay. You're going to write that, no longer than a couple of paragraphs, but tie it all together. Bring the highlights out there for us. That way you're making me interested in what you're doing. Don't hedge your bets type of thing is what Dr. Sharp said. I'm just saying you do want to keep it simple. Okay. So basically, where I'm looking at this as being, kind of a third. Okay. A third of this is you're going to outline if you look at this, you're going to look at the third to our second, all the way back in there. Okay. A third of it's going to be identifying your problems and your issues. Okay. Your analysis is probably going to be maybe even close to half of it. And then the other, or between a third and a half, is your analysis. Okay. What are your problems? How do you identify those problems? Do some research. What else? And then your courses of action. Okay. Your courses of action, your recommendations are basically a third of it. So your course of action is going to be, okay, this is what I recommend, and these are the possibilities. Then you make one recommendation, and this is the reason why I'm doing that recommendation. But in your analysis, you should be doing research. You should be looking at those. You've identified the problems and issues. That performing in the analysis is going to be looking at all those sides of those issues. Okay, what's really the important issues? What one is not? Okay, these are ones we can act on. This one's not. This is not feasible because it's going to cost too much money, or whatever the case may be. But this is where also you're going to be doing your research. Look up those articles. Okay, not Wikipedia, and not just general websites, but look up articles, trade articles, published studies, those types of things that would identify with this problem. Okay, and they might have some pieces to make your argument. And just to bring all this together, okay, we're looking at, this is what you're going to want to do, is with a case analysis, it's about what you can prove. It's about how strong you can make that case for your recommendation. That's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at whether you agree with me or not, okay? No, I'm looking at, did you make a good, solid recommendation, and did you back it up? Okay, those are the types of things. And did you research those in your analysis? Did you research and to provide the documentation to back that situation up, to back your problem identification up? And you'll find that these will take me a little while to grade. I'll try to get them turned over in a week so you guys can have the feedback before you start the team case. And I'll be probably next week when this is due, you'll see me divide the teams up. So if you have any questions, feel free to either drop by my office like one of your colleagues did today. I'm on campus Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Typically here most of the day. Wednesday might be a little tougher to catch me and Daniel, but the rest of them in the Daniel house. But the rest of the time, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I am in the Daniel house, typically until 2:30, 3 o'clock. I do teach in the mornings from 9 to 11, but other than that, I'm probably around the office. If not, you can catch me online between 11:30 and 3 on Mondays. That's my online office hours. You can feel free, if you need to, drop me an email, either with a question or